Grabe yung revelasyon ni Pasig City Mayor Vico Soto tungkol sa di umano ay pagbebenta ni na Julius Babaw at ni na Corina Sanchez, dalawang broadcaster na hinahangaan at nirerespeto sa Pilipinas, na binenta daw nila yung kanilang feature interview sa mga diskaya. Medyo talagang controversial yun, no? Pero I'd like to point out na hanggang ngayon naman wala pang lumalabas na ebidensya kung totoo man ito, kung mayroong bayaran na nangyari, kahit na mismo si Mayor Vico Soto ay implied lang yung sinabi niya, pero wala pang talagang pruwebang iniharap tungkol dito. Pero gayon pa man, talagang nagulo. Hindi lang yung politics natin but also yung lalo na sa media, no? Kasi ito na naman, lumalabas naman itong issue ng media ethics, media corruption. Siyempre, ang mas malaking context nito, itong ang umiiral ngayon na issue ng napakalawak na korupsyon dito sa Pilipinas, lalo na tungkol sa DPWH, sa mga flood control projects, mga public works projects. So, talagang matindi yung aligasyon na yun at sabi nga sa English, it opened a can of worms. And also, I think talagang napuwersa ang media community na tingnan yung sarili nila at pag-aralan kung ano ba yung ginagawa ng mga journalist, ng mga empleyado nila, mga journalist tungkol sa pagtalima sa kanilang mga code of ethics, ano. Sa akin kasi, ang mas ano pa dito, ang mas medyo nababahala lang ako, yung so far na medyo tahimik yung mga journalism institutions, yung mga universities and colleges na nagtuturo ng journalism or mass communications. Kasi sa tingin ko, ito na yung pagkakataon dapat Ito na yung opportunity para sa kanila na talagang pag-usapan ito para maka-benefit sa kanila yung mga estudyante nila. Kasi sa panahon ngayon, lalo na, ang pinoint out ko ito dito sa episode na to, pinakakailangan ang journalistic ethics, ang media ethics. Kasi nga, ang tindi ng mga challenges sa media, andyan yung disinformation, andyan yung mga masyado ng lumalalang corruption ginagawa ng mga politiko at mga government officials. No? So, more than ever, sabi ko nga, ito na yung pagkakataon na pag-usapan itong media ethics para yung mga pumapasok pa lang na maging journalist, meron na silang kakayahan na to deal with ethical issues pag nasa beat na sila o di kaya nasa trabaho na sila. No? So, sa episode na to, kasama ko ang isang batikang journalist na dati, ilang dekadang naging journalist, pero ngayon ay nagtuturo na. Si Alcuin Papa, isang matalik na kaibigan, ay dating reporter ng Manila Times ng panahon ng mga Gokong Wei. Naging reporter din siya ng mahigit isang dekada sa Philippine Daily Inquirer at kalaunan ay umalis siya doon at nagtrabaho sa GMA and then ABS-CBN. Nung pinasara ni Duterte yung ABS-CBN, isa si Alcuin sa mga tinanggal sa pwesto. Since then, hindi na siya bumalik sa pagjajaryo, sa pagiging journalist, but nagtuturo na siya ngayon ng mga journalism subjects sa University of the Philippines sa Diliman at saka sa University of Perpetual Help sa Las Piñas. So kasama natin siya ngayon at hihimayin natin itong issue na to. Pag-uusapan natin ito at syempre saan natin dapat ipwesto yung usapin ng journalism at media ethics sa mga nangyayari ngayon. Alcuin, good of you to join us today.
Hi, Kaloy. Hello to everyone. Hello to your audience.
Our small audience pa. We're not there in the Christian Esguerra kind of league pa, but
okay lang yun.
Yeah. But yeah, so as I said, I'm happy that nagkita tayo and then we talk about this. We've known each other for quite some time now, and always in the context of our jobs before as journalists, no?
Yes.
And
yes.
Alam mo naman, journalism is close both to our hearts. And then I think the few times na nag-uusap tayo, hindi lang politics, we always like talk about, even bitch about what's happening in the media, right?
Yes, there's a lot to talk about actually kasi.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. Before I go into our subject, Alcuin, pwede mong kwento sa amin anong nangyari sa career mo, kumbaga, purely, ba't ka nag-shift to journalism education?
It's a story I tell my students every semester naman. When the first day of classes, you introduce yourself, diba?
Mm-hmm.
And so yes, I worked as a newspaper person with the Manila Times, with the crew of Malumang Ahas,
mm-hmm.
and as editor-in-chief. And then that was the time that medyo former President Erap was bearing down on the paper. You remember that, Kaloy? Yeah. When the Gokongwei family sold the paper, we were given the option to stay or go. And I chose to leave. Diba?
Okay.
And then I bummed around for a while, and then I ended up in the Inquirer. I spent 11 years there as a newspaper, as a reporter. And then I decided I wanted to try something new. So I left the Inquirer. Sabi ko nga sa mga students ko, big mistake number one. I ended up in the desk of GMA. And then I spent 2 years there. And then a family, and then my wife had an offer, a really good one. And I said, it'd be crazy not to accept that. So I quit. Ako yung nag-house husband for a while. Then my wife went to work. And then 2 years later, my wife comes home and says, I don't want to do this anymore kasi it's too stressful. And I said, okay, ako naman ang palit na naman kami. Ako naman babalik.
Oh, wow.
So I went to
ABS.
Yes, ABS. Una kasi ito sa ANC with I was editing a website for ANC. And then I landed in the news desk na rin also.
Okay.
And that was it. And then in 2020, the former President Duterte said, ABS-CBN, yan. And then the franchising blew up. And then, we were in the first or second round of layoffs. Yes, many of us lost our jobs.
Oh, wow.
And I said, and I had a discussion during the pandemic to, Kaloy, ha?
Oh.
And I tell my students very emphatically, a government is supposed to support or to give jobs to the citizens or support their livelihood, not take it away.
Yeah.
Diba? So me and my wife had a talk, and then we said, she said something like, sobrang na I remember na, she said, I didn't like it too much that you worked in media because you were such a different person. It's too stressful. And then I said, okay, I'll pull back. And then I decided to, maybe I should teach na. I've always thought of teaching.
Your first gig sa teaching was with which school?
I started with the University of Perpetual Health.
Okay.
Yes. Because I was employed here anyway as a regular employee. They consult me on media matters and marketing. So it was a new field, pero parang masaya din kasi you learn something new. I always like learning something new.
Yeah.
And then I said, can I teach? And they said, okay, we'll give you subjects. And so that's what they did.
Okay.
Then one day, nag-open naman ng UP Department of Journalism, and I gave it a shot.
Okay.
And I was lucky enough.
Yeah, I'm envious, Alcuin. I might have told you this already that teaching is something that I really wanted to do, and that's something I'm exploring ngayon na medyo nag-iba na yung takbo natin ng buhay natin. Pero in both universities, what sort of journalism subjects do you teach? What's your focus?
I started with the basic 101, foundations, basic. And then when I landed in UP, they also gave me a basic subject, the 101. And then I taught na rin news writing. And now it's really more of the newsroom. The subject is called the newsroom, where we train students how to work in a newsroom and how to be, leaders in the newsroom.
Okay. That's those remain fascinating na mga areas
Yes.
Kasi especially now that newsrooms are evolving, as you know. And we're not just even talking about itong social media lang and how they're affecting newsroom operations, but also I guess on so many levels, part ng newsroom operations is how do you navigate paano mo i-handle itong mga questions on ethics, professionalism, conduct ng mga tao mo, and are they adhering closely to the journalistic standards that you set forth, no? So I imagine yung ganong klaseng focus something na talagang tinututukan nyo rin.
Yeah, I always try to bring the discussion of ethics into my classes, whether it's the 101 or the higher journal subjects, because it's a very, very big part of the profession. Very big issue in the profession. I think it is the biggest pa siguro, 'di ba? Next to, of course, there are, you may argue with me on this, pero to me, from what I saw kasi in my time in the beat, it was one of the biggest issues, and it's probably the first issue that the students will confront once they get to the.
I won't argue with you on that one. I'm I'm on the same page as you are on that. Actually, I'm glad you mentioned that already because that's exactly what we're going to be talking about in the next like half an hour. Yung tungkol nga dito sa mga ethics na to, tungkol dun nga sa interview ni na Julius Babaw, Corina Sanchez with Diskaya, right? It's a very mainit na issue, not in the sense na pinag-uusapan, but in the sense na ang daming nasusunog. And then that happens in a context of all of these things na nangyayari ngayon sa Pilipinas with all of this corruption allegation, mga flood control, mga kung ano-ano yung mga kalokohang pinaggagawa ng mga nasa gobyerno. So I think, obviously the ethical issues in this controversy are clear, no? That yung interview ni Corina at saka ni Julius Babaw sa mga Diskaya should have been done better kung talagang totoo silang mga journalists. I mean, there were questions that were left unanswered or were unasked questions. Of course, lumabas nga dito na parang it was a puff interview. It were mga puff interviews itong mga to. So what's your take on this?
Well, the first time I saw it, I think other journalists also had the same opinion na there was really no definitive statement that any of these journalists took money.
Yeah.
Diba?
Yeah.
So, but I realized we have to set this aside a little and look at ano ba yung actual finished product.
Yeah.
And go back a little to the process that led to this finished product. And yung process and the finished product pa lang laglag na. Kumbaga sa klase 5 na 5 yan.
Yeah.
Diba? Kasi it's fairly obvious that they, as you said, they are puff pieces. These interviews were conducted apparently during the campaign period where Sara Diskaya was running for mayor.
Mm-hmm.
So doon pa lang medyo malabo na. Fail na yun in some journalism standards. If I can recall the ethics handbook of ABS-CBN and GMA, I read them glancing, di ba?
Mm-hmm.
Wala yun ganun because you're not supposed to be because the hitch there is you're not supposed to be doing these interviews and stories as a favor to any political person, of which, if you file your certificate of candidacy, that automatically, you're already a political animal, so to speak, diba? Yeah. And it's very frustrating to see that, let's assume that these journalists, these veteran journalists, diba, know how to navigate these ethical issues, but did not see where it was leading to, and they did not have the foresight of what the product will result to and what people will look, and how the public, which is their audience, will perceive the product. Then I think that's the ultimate fail. Not just unethical, diba? It's kind of lack of foresight to be mild about it, diba?
Yeah, I mean,
so
it's not as if they walked into a trap or anything. It was
I don't think so.
It was all set up, 'di ba? Parang tsaka, the basic things about it, there were a lot of red flags. I mean, obviously we saw those red flags when they uploaded the interviews, but again, kung totoo nga matinukang journalist, I mean, yung mga red flags pa lang na yun before you even start talking, dapat nakita mo na yun eh. Malinaw na naman kung ano yung mga lapses nila, and then they will have to deal with it their own ways. Ang gusto kong i-shift yung discussion natin, Alcuin, is parang I mean, this is a controversy that should have elicited massive, really strong reactions from the media community and from, more importantly, where you're coming from, and also I believe in that, from the academe, from media educators. What's going on? Ang nakita ko pa lang yata is Varsitarian. Definitely,
Yes.
the NUJP has put out a statement condemning it.
Yes.
But apart from that, parang wala. I mean, ang nakikita lang natin ng mga reaction dito, yung nasa Facebook, mga kaibigan natin nagre-react, weighing in on this. But yung journalism educators, like, I mean, sorry to say, but even UP Diliman, I think, I'd like to think na they're still weighing this, or they're still, they still want to weigh, to at some point weigh in on this one. But ilang araw na kasi nakalipas eh. So why do you think this is happening?
It's Kalo, it's the culture. We, even working journalists, hesitate to talk about media issues out in the open, much less with their colleagues, much less with their bosses.
Mm-hmm.
Diba? And it's a whole culture. We can argue that maybe it's the bosses who should be talking about these things with their young reporters, with their new reporters. But I am not so sure that is being done. From my experience out in the beat, there is a total hesitation. In fact, when you do that in the beat, it's always hushed whispers, oy, ganyan.
Yeah.
Which actually does not really lend credence to it, because parang marites, parang chismis lang. Pero bakit ganun? There should be a more open discussion about it. Maybe because also, if you deign to discuss ethical issues out in the open, in the beat, you are so afraid that the finger that's pointing at them will point to you also.
Yeah. So may ganong I mean,
So,
not necessarily omerta or anything. It's just that they're just not comfortable talking about this in the open.
there's a very large discomfort, the very heavy discomfort. But I remember I used to talk to these things with the younger generation, because the older generation, I saw it as the hopeless cases yan eh. But if the younger reporters come to me with say, sir, Boss Alvin, how do we do this?
Yeah.
And I try to explain to them, the ethical call here is ganyan. And then, what do you think? It should be a conversation na. It's not just me, handing down the edicts from above.
The Ten Commandments of journalism.
No. It should be a conversation. Ikaw, what do you think?
Yeah. Pag-usapan natin yan vis-a-vis doon sa mga pagtuturo mo na ganyan. But before we continue, I'd like to point out though that there have been others, journalists, who are also educators, who have said their piece about this, like our friend Christian Esguerra.
He did not mince any words. Talaga.
Yeah, he was really, he went all out about this, and you just have to give praise to the man for doing that. And also there are other journalists on their own capacity talking about these our friends in many outlets. But I'm more concerned about, ayokong maging judgmental this early toward academic institutions about their silence or what, I don't know. Kasi nga, sabi nga natin, baka nga naman minumuni-muni pa nila, they're weighing this very very carefully kung paano. But ang ko dito kasi is that this is the moment to talk about it eh.
Tsaka Kalo, it's been a while.
It's been a while.
Diba?
Yeah. So,
kumbaga na-consider na natin yung mga angles and the other debates and arguments for and against, and we are still where we are before, which is, that's just plain wrong talaga.
no,
And I agree, there is a lack of journalists coming together as a community to really talk about this thing.
Yeah.
And to say na, it's completely, does not belong, it's wrong. But the community is just not there.
Well, that's sad.
And I
because-
cannot understand why.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And that's sad, sabi ko nga, kasi one is that the silence or the refusal to confront this head on can be interpreted.
Acquiescence.
Yeah, can be interpreted in so many ways, right? And but also I think sa mga journalist kasi, tingin ko hindi na masyadong issue pa yan obviously, but hindi kasing lalang issue ito kung hindi ito pag-uusapan ng mga schools, ng mga educators, sa mga estudyante.
Yeah.
So ikaw, imagine yourself out in teaching in Perpetual Help, teaching in UP Diliman, and this issue comes up. What would be kind of the tenor and the scope of your conversation about this issue?
Actually, surprisingly, it was the students who brought this up in class. So when one student in my Saturday class, shout out to them, said na Sir, what do you think of this whole Julius Babaw Yan, sige, let's discuss that. So I said, okay, what do you think first? And then I took down notes and then I gave my own impression. And actually, what I remember from that talk is that I told them na it's really an issue of being a stakeholder. That these two veteran journalists did not, being a steward. It's an issue of stewardship. I think Professor Danny Araw mentioned that. Looking at that these two journalists, veteran journalists, are not being good examples to the young people. And I was so afraid of that because I was so afraid that there will be young journalists who look at this issue and say, that is my pathway to riches and fame, di ba? And I, at the instant talaga, I had to say, guys, no. You know naman that the only way to be rich in journalism is, you have to be there might be some compromises along the way. Don't expect that you will magkakamal kayo ng malaking kayamanan talaga.
That's just the thing, I'm glad you mentioned Danny Araw, Professor Danny Araw, because I don't want to be unfair. He did talk about this in his interviews with the press. But again, going back to I go back to my point about the institutions that are not. The reason why I'm harping on this one, Alcuin, is because I think at this point where journalism is under severe pressure from many angles, from many sides. Hindi lang ito tungkol dun sa kung bakit mahirap ng makakuha ng advertiser or makakuha ng subscribers, but even under pressure from even ethical issues such as this. So dapat ito na yung talagang opportunity para pag-usapan tong ganito at gawin itong front and center sa usapin.
This should have been the cornerstone. And yes, I agree with you. Professor Araw and people like Christian have been talking about this, but they've been doing that individuals.
Yeah.
The institutions should also come in. In fact, if I may make a bold the institutions, meaning the media corporations themselves, should also do that. Now, but not to say that, hey, that's not the way we work, because that's a little too, di ba, sobra naman yun, di ba?
Yeah.
I've always said that if media corporations should market themselves, they should really market themselves vis-a-vis values of journalism. And not, we do the job better than the next person. Dapat hindi ganun eh. If you look at the marketing in the US, it's always, CNN, facts first. Parang ganun, di ba? Blah, blah, blah. That's the way to market yourself as a media corporation. Yet here, it's always, di ba, we do it better than the other person. I mean, that's not the, because in the end, a blight to the profession, like this case, the Vizcaya Sanchez and Babaw case. It's a blight to everyone eh.
Yeah.
Diba? Lahat apektado dito because the two veterans have failed in their stewardship. Diba? So what are we going to say about that? Are we still going to say, are we still going to have the network wars to say na, diba, we do it better? It's not like that. It affects everyone. Therefore, the industry should come together talaga.
Yeah.
And then whether they have a joint statement or whether they have it individually, pwede rin naman eh. So yung home network ni Julius at ni Corina, kung saan sila sumikat, sa ABS-CBN. We haven't heard anything from them also, di ba?
Yeah.
And probably they're keeping quiet because they don't want the fingers also pointing their way. Understandable. Pero, di ba, like you said, this is a different time already, Kaloy. Trust in the media is down. It's slowly going up, but it's still down. Media's also dealing with the disinformation war.
Oh, yeah.
Diba?
We can't afford to... Yun ang worry ko. Kasi nga, lalo na itong in the context of disinformation, ang dali kasing gamitin yung mga lapses, ethical lapses na ginawa ng mga journalists to really depict the media as this evil, corrupt, immoral part of society. And in fact, we're already seeing that in many ways, lalo na sa mga trolls, So kung anuhin ng konti yung discussion dito. So, in the hierarchy of values, na tingin mo ay dapat talagang nirespeto ng mga journalists, where does ethics, where does it stand in this hierarchy of values?
Well, it should stand very high because in my classes, I think I told you this, diba? I focus on my basic class. I focus on three main characteristics, categories when it comes to being a good journalist or training to be a good journalist. One is truth, fidelity to the truth. Second is the skills, because you and I know that the issue of skills is just not how good you write or ano. There's a lot there, and
Yeah.
it's also tied to the issue of fidelity to the truth. And finally, ethics. These three concepts, diba, they're all tied together. It's like the triumvirate of journalism also. And when I read that in one of the books, I just forgot which one, diba? It really struck me looking back at my own career, diba? It would have been a nice guide. These three things would have been a nice guide on how to do good journalism and how the profession should be practiced. Now, I teach it to my students and I say it to them, if you will develop other concepts, go right ahead. Pero join me in making these three things your foundation, because these are very important. And now we're talking about ethics now, di ba? Ethics actually is my last lecture because I want them to remember that. If there's
Yeah.
anything they take away from the subject, please remember that, di ba?
Some people might argue, Alcuin, ethics, codes of ethics of journalism, ang dami-dami niyan, PPI, NUJP, marami tayo, kahit nga siguro mga newsroom, meron. Some may argue na parang, okay, in this day and age where ethics kind of swings, to demand adherence to ethics is not realistic dahil nga dito sa mga challenges na to. And in fact, meron pang I can imagine people saying na yung mga pumupuna sa mga sa mga journalists, media criticism and all of that, lagi nilang binabalikan, lagi nilang kinukutya na tipong nagmamagaling na naman tong mga to, mga ganyan, akala mo kung sino mga santo. So a lot of these issues come up, but I can imagine if I'm a student of journalism and then I'm confronted with all of this, ang hirap-hirap. So ano ang tingin mong dapat gawin ng mga ng schools, ng educators kadalayan mo, tsaka ng mga estudyante to navigate this? Because kung agree tayo na ang ethics ay non-negotiable sa trabaho na to, sa profession na to, then we need to talk about it. We need to grab it by the horn.
Yeah, I think the interesting part is when I discuss ethics with if the students discuss ethics with me, it's usually in the form of they ask me practical things,
Yeah.
Practical situations, diba? Sir, what do we do if it's this? What do we do if we get an envelope, for example, diba? Is it okay if we sit down and eat at the expense of for example, a political candidate, for example? But because I answer, pero I think they should be given the bigger context of it. Ethics is just not these small occasions, diba? There's a bigger context to it in a sense that you have to keep yourself, you have to do it, practice it in an ethical way as to retain your own independence and credibility.
Mm-hmm.
They should see it in that bigger picture, diba? Because, well, a meal is a meal, a cup of coffee is a cup of coffee, diba?
Yeah. It starts with the little
of course,
things.
An envelope is not just an envelope.
Yeah. But it starts with the little things, remember?
Diba?
Yung bibit pa tayo.
It does start with the little things, yes. But I want them to see that they should be aware that there is a bigger context to it and not just diba? Of course, syempre, matik, no, diba? They should walk away from that situation thinking, I did the right thing because the values that I bring with me to my job is this, that, this.
I remember Robbie Alampay, he posted something the other day about, kasi nga marami nagsasabi na, ang daming gray areas kasi sa ethics ng journalism. So how do you deal with those gray areas? One of the examples na sinabi niya is that, well, avoid those gray areas. Sinasabi niya, but just because may gray area dyan, that doesn't necessarily mean na kailangan mong pasukan yan. Avoid those gray areas if you can. So, ang example ng ginawa niya is that one, pag may nagpatawag ng press con na politiko ng 11 a.m., tsak yan, merong lunch na ihahain yan sa inyo. So, if you're not comfortable with that, then huwag ka mag-attend sa press con na yun or, devise a way na you don't have to be forced into eating that lunch or drinking whatever the congressman will serve, right? So, yung mga ganung bagay.
Yeah, I think you should avoid the gray areas. Also, that's right. Robbie's right there, Kaloy. But you should also realize when to walk away from that gray area.
Yeah.
When to walk away from that difficult situation.
Yeah.
And just say now, okay, I'll eat somewhere else, I'll buy my own food or something like that.
Yeah.
Because that's hard eh. It's easy to walk into a gray area. So, oops, oh no, what do you do now?
Yeah.
Diba? So parang your self-awareness should be kicking in and parang your spider sense is tingling and say, mukhang magkakaanohan dito. Okay, what's your next move? Diba? Parang ganon.
Tingin ko, marami magsasabi, napaka-purist naman ng dalawang to mag-uusap about media. Pero ang tingin ko kasi, when you go into journalism, dapat yung ethical fortitude mo talagang malakas. Kasi alam mo yung mga bagay na mga ganitong papasukan mo eh. Kasi I think the basic understanding of how politicians or government officials work is needed by journalists. Like all of these people, these politicians and government officials, of course, they will try to find a way to ingratiate themselves sa iyo. So, yan mga tipong, okay, nagpunta kayo sa isang event, press con, tapos nakita ka niya, nakahintay ka lang doon, naghihintay ka ng jeep, bigla kang aalokin, sabay ka na sa kotse, dito ka na, ihati ka na ng driver ko. Again, those are little things, pero, alam mo yon, and then this will niggle at you. Tapos, pag medyo comfortable na sa yung politiko, yung government official, and then, wala na. By the time you realize na you've been, kumbaga na nabingwit ka na ng todo, might be too late. So, this is not about being purist. This is about really, tawag dito, yung talagang protection mo.
This is about drawing a clear line between in your job and your relationship with your sources.
Yeah.
Clear line lang. If you manage to convince your sources na, sir, I'm just doing this is just my job. This is my job is to ask you these questions, hard or easy, diba? And sometimes try to make them understand na trabaho mo to and that you don't want anything else, diba? You just want access from them. You're going for the story, and sometimes just hope that they will understand that and not try to bamboozle you with a free car ride or a free cup of coffee, diba? So that is the hope. Of course, that's a difficult hope because most of the sources also, lalo na when it comes to politicians, they are skewered more to the ganyan ang kalakaran ng mga journalists diba? You have to show them that you're different. Diba?
Yeah.
It's not the way I do things.
This actually brings me to another thing, which is that ito yung advokasya ng Inyo JP. Lagi na sinasabi na I used to be with Inyo JP, by the way. Yun nga, dahil nga sa condition ng mga journalists na overwork, underpaid, walang benefits and all of that, mahihirap yung issue ng adherence sa ethics kung yung mga threats sa ethics ay talagang they're taking advantage of the fact that you, the journalist, you don't have fair money, you don't have enough money, meal money, wala kang, pangit yung sweldo mo. So, I actually posted something a while back na sinabi ko na actually yung hindi pagbabayad ng maayos sa mga journalists, it's a form of control kung titingnan mo kasi alam ng mga politiko yan alam ng mga government officials yan so, and then they exploit that to push their agenda or to prevent you from digging whatever it is that might harm them, yung image nila. So, disclosure lang guys, baka sabihin nyo kasi parang nagmamagaling na naman itong mga to. Unang-una, wala akong any journalism degree. So, whatever whatever journalism na natutunan ko at saka sa ethics o ano yan, sa pagbabasa ng napakaraming libro at sa practice yan. Also, a little disclosure, I'm a member of the board of the Center for Media Freedom and Responsibility. So, yung pinanggagalingan ko dito is medyo, medyo adamant ako sa issue ng ethics sa pagdating dito. Kaya, pasensya na dun sa mga nagsasabing, sino ba itong mga to para magsabing, to tell us what to do with our morality and our ethics, no?
Kung pinasok mo yung journalism para kumita ng pera in that way, from handouts, from politicians, and whatever, mostly politicians, local, national. If you're in journalism because of that, I think you are in the wrong profession.
Yeah.
Diba? And I think you should reconsider what you do because that is not the values of journalism. Hindi talaga eh.
Yeah.
And kahit gaano mo baluk-baluk to the, diba, you think it upside down, so whatever, it's not that talaga eh. And it really destroys the concept that journalists are truth tellers. How can you tell the truth if your next meal depends on someone, lalo na someone in power? I mean, that's so I think there should be it's time to reconfigure your life, diba?
That's an interesting point, Alcuin, because made me think whether yung mga journalism institution or educators, yung mga journalism departments, parang lumalabas, they're there because they're basically winnowing out students hoping na ang matira yun talaga yung mga steadfast talaga na magkikling doon, not just ethics but professionalism and skills. Parang kasi, I mean, there have been reports or studies or surveys na nagsasabing karamihan ng mga graduate in journalism or mass comm, they don't go into media, they go into PR, they go into something else.
Yeah.
So, anong challenge dito sa mga katulad mong journalism educators? How do you instill in your students na tipong, okay, given all the realities ng pagiging journalist na hindi ka yayaman dito, paano sila i-disabuse dun sa notion na tipong, ba't pa tayo papasukin to? Kailangan, diba? Paano mo sila kumbinsihin na it's a worthy effort pa rin?
Well, I think there is the opening that the explanation or the orientation of the importance of journalism in society, particularly in a democratic society, diba? And it just, educators should not even sugarcoat these things talaga eh. Parang the onus is, you tell them the job demands this, it demands values and ethics, and most of all demands courage. Now the question is, are you up to it? If you still want to be part of this community, this bold, diba, courageous community. Because otherwise, well, there are other pathways naman. Mm-hmm. There's, marketing and PR, pero please, do it the right way. Ganun sinasabi ko, please, diba, do it the right way naman. Huwag naman yung magto-troll farm kayo or something, diba, magiging troll kayo. Diba, kundi, diba, kutos or whatever, diba, parang ganon.
Pero ano ba to, Alcuin, parang baliktarin natin ngayon yung orientation ng journalism education, tipong okay, interesting yung sinabi mo na dapat, kasi ang usual kasi na pag-iisip ng mga siguro maraming estudyante is that papasok ako sa journalism kasi kailangan papakita ko kung gaano ako galing magsulat. Hindi na ganun dapat no? Ipapakita mo kung paano katigas, katibay ang iyong ethical moorings.
Yes, that is part of the things that we have to teach them. Parang, okay, di ba? Courage is part of it. Actually, for example, in UP, I like to anchor that lecture in the motto of UP, which is honor and excellence and service. Pinagdagan na yan ginawa sa tatlo na. So, service. So, parang, di ba? Journalism is public service. Di ba? If you're thinking of something that you want to do for society, journalism is a good profession, but it demands a lot from you, and you will be tested, you'll be weighed and measured,
and found wanting,
and you may be found wanting sometimes, but as a whole, siguro you learn from it also, Diba? Kasi that's also part of it. You will learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, that's true.
You have to. If you don't learn from your mistakes, look for something else na rin.
Yeah.
Diba?
Yeah.
Kasi parang wala na eh. Close na yung mind mo about this. Of course not. Diba? You think you can do this job perfectly? Hindi rin. Because, many journalists will make mistakes din. Because after all, human din naman kasi.
Yeah.
Diba?
But I think also, Alcuin, there needs to be a kind of a better push ng mga journalism educators and institutions about kind of packaging the role of media and journalism in a society like ours. Our history is replete with examples of journalistic, for lack of a better word, heroism.
Courage. Yes, heroism. Yes.
Na nangyari mula pa nung, in fact, even before martial law. We have a long history of journalists who played important roles in nation building.
That's the history of the Philippine press is also a vital course stage in the education of future journalists. Somehow we have to be able to look back, and our history is replete with that. I'm just not talking about the propaganda movement. We can go as early as martial law lang. Martial law lang, mahaba ng usapan yun kung ano nangyari doon.
Even before that, Carlos P. Romulo, for instance, he won a Pulitzer. And even Ninoy Aquino was a journalist before all of that. So, the world of journalism, tingin ko wala na yung tipong mga swashbuckling kind of image ng mga journalist. Wala na. Kinuha na lahat ng mga tulfo yan.
Siguro that's the old, no?
Oo, di ba?
Yung generation natin.
I remember. Ako,
generation, di ba?
Mas matanda ako sa iyo, Alcuin, pero I remember.
The swaggering
gumshoe reporters, yeah.
With the cigarette in the lips, parang gano'n.
You remember Ruther Batuigas? I don't know if you even know him. But
yes.
Mga ganong klaseng.
Legendary yung mga yan.
So, may mga ganong klaseng, may ganon tayong history. And I think, going back to my point, I think importanteng ipa-impress sa mga bagong estudyante ngayon na hindi lang ito tipong trabaho lang. You're actually contributing to nation building. You're actually training yourself to be critical Filipinos, to question things, to monitor things, how this government is functioning itself. Because, we do have a long history of journalists who made the nation proud, and recently nga si Manny Mogato na nanalo ng Pulitzer. Ang dami nating mga journalist na kaibigan, Patricia Evangelista came out with a book that was really something.
Who did courageous things.
Courageous things. Our friends in Rappler, in the Inquirer, Verifiles, and many others have done individual reporting on really difficult subjects and themes. So meron. Hindi lang ito tipong na tipong gawa ka lang or mag-report ka lang. And even the whole idea na di ba? Kasi isa sa mga napag-usapan natin the other day was ang dami mga estudyante nag-enroll ng journalism kasi gusto nila makita yung sarili nila sa TV, glamour, and
gusto na sumikat. Well, the continuation of that story is that gusto yung sumikat as journalist. In fact, maybe my generation, many of us entered the profession with the same wide-eyed desire to be famous. But somewhere down the line, there is a rediscovery of the purpose of journalism and what it really stands for. Concepts like freedom, diba, and the truth. And these things really matter if we want to help build a better society. Diba? And I keep telling, sometimes I tell my students when that dawned on me somehow, well, that's a little story. That's another story, diba? Pero pag na-realize yun, it will give you purpose to do the job better.
Tsaka diba? Alcuin, it's not just, once you graduate from your degree in UP or Perpetual, there are opportunities here and abroad for advancing journalism education. Ang dami. Fellowships. I'm not just talking about postgraduate stuff, ha. Marami. So, it's not as if once na pumasok ka sa journalism, it's a dead-end kind of thing. No, it actually can open a lot of possibilities. Meron talaga.
It can be meaningful. It's only as meaningful as you make it to be.
That's true.
Because at the end of the day, kung talagang gusto mo lang talaga sumikat at gusto mo lang mag-japorms sa camera, that's I always say, okay, you do you.
Yeah.
Diba? Pero consider nyo naman that there's the other side of it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that if you familiarize yourself, if you realize that other side, it will make your career more significant.
Yeah.
Diba?
And rewarding, ha?
Oo.
I'm actually reminded now, hindi ko nabanggit kanina, but the Philippines actually kind of pioneered or was the leader in investigative journalism in Asia for a long, long time, probably until today nga. That's largely on the back of the success of the Philippine Center for Investigative Journalism, si Sheila Coronel, who's now running the Stabili Center for Investigative Journalism in Columbia University. So we have a long history in the Philippines of good journalism, good investigative journalism that is being emulated around the world. Not just in Southeast Asia, but in many others in countries in Asia and other countries around the world.
Maraming potential to sell or to cite the good examples, di ba? If you want the swashbuckling kind of stories, there's another group of people that we can point to. But if you really want the people who did a lot of good journalism for country, we have marami. The list is very long. And sana we steer the students towards those kind of examples also.
Kaya nga, I would like to take exception dun sa comment ni President Marcos last week in sinabi na sana yung mga investigative journalists referring to the flood control projects na hindi daw na yun. I mean, that's just BS. I mean, you know, the work of the PCAJ, the work of Rappler, the work of Inquirer, the work of many other journalists who expose shenanigans in government, andyan naman eh.
Ako, when I heard that, I said, pass the FOI.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Diba?
Pass the FOI. Yun yung plain and simple. Diba?
Exactly.
Tell your guys in Congress, hey guys, pass mo na yan. Kasi, diba? I'm looking for the investigative journalist. Pass the FOI.
Kung may FOI lang, it would be much easier to expose more of this corruption that's happening now, public works and infrastructure.
Precisely. Isipin mo, Kaloy, if the FOI was passed, initially when it was filed in Congress, diba, these problems of the flood control, baka dati pa lang na-report na yan eh.
Yeah.
Diba?
Yeah. That's true. FOI obviously is just kind of one of the ways that you can improve your reporting, particularly investigative reporting. I mean, but we really need to cite the excellent work of many of these journalists. Like, again, lagi kong binabanggit, PCIJ, they've done quite a massive amount of work on public works corruption. Rappler recently, they raised a lot of issues and reported quite a bit on itong mga contractors nga after the Diskaya thing, and also other outfits have done their own work now and in the past.
Minsan kasi, Kaloy, those kinds of stories are not sexy eh. You know naman how it is, but that's a
different thing. That's another podcast. But you know what warms my heart actually, Alcuin, is that we're seeing here a generation of really good journalists and really good investigative reporters are now in positions of power in media outlets. PCIJ, Rappler, even in your department in UP Diliman, the department is run by Carol Ilagan, one of the best investigative journalists in the country. We're seeing a crop of new journalists that are really making waves. You know, talking about, for instance, Regine Cabato used to be with the Washington Post, and she's now really doing a really terrific job exposing disinformation and all of that while studying for her master's as a Chevening scholar in London. The same way with Gisette Inano, who's from the Inquirer also.
Oh yeah.
You know,
she's also with the department also.
Yeah. The focus on climate justice and human rights, that's just really something. So, I mean, that's my way of, I guess, telling students, your students, or telling new journalists that there's a whole bunch of opportunities to improve your craft, your person, yourself.
Oh, I'm really looking for the next Carol Ilagan.
Yeah.
Diba? I'm looking at them in those lenses eh. Parang sana manggaling dito yung mga
or the next Yvonne Chua,
generation.
For that matter.
Yes, the next
Lalo Mangahas. The next
lumakas,
Sheila
diba?
Coronel.
So hopefully, so that really as an educator, that really fuels me talaga na. On the other hand, nakaka-pressure din. Parang, napapressure ko sa iyo. Pero actually parang, I can't wait for you guys to do great things. Ganon yung sinasabi ko sa kanila kasi, wala, parang it will make me proud and of course it will, kumbaga, we see a new, we pass the torch to baka nga better generation.